In March of 2026, I visited Alton Towers in Staffordshire, England for the first time, and rode 9 of the 11 roller coasters there. Despite the fact that I didn't actually get all of the credits that were there because one of them was closed and one was a kiddie coaster with a 55-minute wait, I still think that I'm qualified to rank all of the coasters in the park, mostly because of how similar the 2 rides that I missed are to other coasters I've been on, and the fact that they would be at the bottom of the list most likely anyway. So that's gonna be pretty much the whole premise of this video. Alton Towers is a fantastic park, and I had a really good day there, although I did have to cough up like 200 pounds to make it a good day, but it was a good day regardless. The park has some incredible theming and some really, really great roller coasters, so most of the rides on this list are very good. You're gonna see rides down at like 8 or 7 that are really, really solid, and that's just because it has a fantastic lineup of rides. So this is every roller coaster at Alton Towers ranked from worst to best from 11 to 1. And at number 11 is a Zamperla Jr. coaster called Octonauts, which I did not ride because it had an hour-long wait all day and there was no way to use the fast pass that I purchased on it. And I just was not gonna sit in that line for that short of a ride. It looked pretty basic, didn't really seem to have much theming around it, especially in comparison to the other kiddie coaster in the park, but I'm sure it would have been smooth and fine, but I didn't ride it, and I don't feel like I missed anything having not ridden it. So yeah, it's at number 11, and I feel like there aren't many people who would put it higher than that. At number 10 is the other kiddie coaster in CBeebies Land, which is that section of the park. I don't know if it actually, maybe the world of Bluey is a different thing now, but CBeebies Land is like the kids area of the park, and that ride is Bluey the Ride, Here Come the Grannies, which is a hilarious name, the new Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike adventure of the UK. This was actually a really good kids coaster. It has some great theming, especially in the queue, which is basically built for children to play in while they're waiting rather than just standing around. It's a wonderful setup with a ton of kinetic energy and allows kids to enjoy themselves while waiting, especially great for kids with certain special needs. So I was very impressed with that, and it was the first thing I did when I got there because I actually showed up on opening day of this coaster and figured that it would have long lines all day, and it did. So I went on it, basically rope dropped it, which apparently was an unpopular thing for people to do, but it was my only day there, so I figured I should probably try to ride this ride. But it was actually pretty good. It had some good forces, it had some good speed to it, it was very low to the ground and like whippy. It was fun. For a kids coaster, it's one of the best out there. You get 2 laps. It made the capacity a little bit weak, especially because the ride is kind of long for a kids coaster on its own, so having 2 laps made it take a while, but it was a good ride and I'm glad I did it. I would do it again if I was put back in that position. At number 9 is the other coaster in the park that I did not ride, Runaway Mine Train, a mock powered coaster. This ride, as well as the rapids that sits directly underneath of it that it weaves around, were both closed during my visit because of, I don't know, the cold, or maybe they just weren't ready for the year. There's been a lot of weird stuff about the way Alton Towers opened up this year, and those 2 rides were not open, so did not get a chance to ride this. I do like powered coasters a lot, but I figured that this would most likely end up being, you know, down at the bottom of the non-kiddie coasters for me. So I put it at 9, but I'm sure I would have had a lot of fun with it. I think powered coasters are fantastic. They're just not like elite thrill rides or anything. At number 8 is an Intamin that I was hoping would be better than it was, and that is 13, a multi-dimension coaster by Intamin, the first one to ever come out. This ride is pretty fun, has a great setting out in the woods. It has some cool tiny pieces of floater airtime throughout its layout before it gets to the indoor sections, but it really is pretty lackluster in terms of the amount of elements it provides for the actual experience that it advertises. It absolutely is a pretty good start for the multi-dimension coaster. It has a bunch of cool elements that really hadn't been seen before on other rides, but it definitely is a step below many of the newer ones and the stuff that they're coming out with today. So it's a good ride, does not deserve like 60-minute waits like it gets, but pretty much every ride at Alton Towers gets ridiculous wait times. So if you're going from out of the country, for sure get yourself a fast pass because you're gonna need it if you're going for 1 day. I would recommend 2 days if you really have the time and the money to do it, but it's an expensive endeavor to make happen because it's out in the middle of nowhere. You're probably gonna have to stay at one of the on-site hotels. Just, it's rough. Yeah, I was a fan of this coaster, but there's just better in the park. At number 7 is a ride that I had really, really high hopes for and came out pretty disappointed in comparison to what I was expecting, but not for the reasons you would expect, and that is Oblivion, a B&M dive coaster. Now, I knew this ride was going to be a pretty basic layout, and as basic as it gets for a dive coaster, just lift hill, drop, turn around, and it ends. I knew that was coming, but I really wanted to get a front row ride on this coaster because there's only 2 rows, so you know, you kind of want to be in that front row. It's drastically different than the back. And I will give this park credit. This ride was closed for 2 weeks before I got there and closed for most of the day I was there, and they managed to get it open towards the end of the day, and I got 2 rides on it because of that. That was fantastic. They did a really good job being transparent about the fact that it might be opening, but they couldn't guarantee it. And then it ended up opening, so I got on it. So I was not expecting to actually get this credit. These sort of lists tend to be almost entirely based on vibes for me, unless the ride is just that good. And the crew in the station really just killed it for me, because I don't know what it is with this particular ride. It doesn't happen anywhere else in the park, but the ride operators very rigidly load the train from back to front. If you are first in line waiting for the next train, and you ask to go in the first row, they will not put you there. It doesn't make any sense to me. I watched a little kid get very excited, asked to go in the front row. The grouper very coldly just said no and put him in the back. And he asked and pleaded to go in the front because there was no one there. And he was like, nope. It makes no difference which row you put them in. I don't understand the rigidity. And because of that, I didn't get a front row ride either, which boo-hoo, who gives a fuck? But like, that's the whole point of Oblivion. They kept kind of saying that, oh, you get the same view from every seat. Absolutely not true. I think that's a horrible practice, and especially for people who, you know, wait to get up to there and hopefully get the front row ride and look over the edge and see straight down into that hole at the bottom of the drop, which you cannot see from the second row, by the way. It absolutely is not possible to see it. It just is a shame because it's such a classic ride. I think it's a pretty poor practice, but I'm gonna stop bitching about it. The ride itself was good, but I mean, it's pretty minimal, and the only selling point for it in terms of looking down into that hole, the "don't look down" motto, which is literally on my arm, was killed by the grouper there. So disappointing for sure. At number 6 is a ride that I only got 1 ride on, but it really left an impression on me, and that is Spinball Whizzer, a Maurer spinning coaster. This ride rocks. Absolutely kicks ass. Some very forceful moments and sick spinning moments throughout the ride that I got. It is whippy as all hell, super fast paced. I really, really like the layout. It just throws you all over the place, especially like in those weird, like flat banked turns that are right over top of each other. I'm sure I have a video of those that I'll show. It's just such a fun ride, and I really enjoyed myself on it. I didn't wait even a single second for it because of my fast pass, which was fantastic. It's just a good roller coaster all in all, and I'm a fan of it, and I'm really glad that I got on it. It was not my first Maurer spinning coaster, like I said in my video ranking the rides before I got to England, but it was a fantastic ride, and I'm super glad I did it. Getting into the top 5 is a ride that probably will be somewhat controversial at this placement, and that is Rita, an Intamin Accelerator. Everyone told me this ride was going to be rough, and that it was not going to be very fun, and the forces wouldn't be very good, and I just don't really understand what people are seeing, because this ride was glossy smooth for me. No headbanging whatsoever. I love the Intamin Accelerator restraints because they're pretty far away from your ears, so, you know, you're not going to hit your head on it. So if it was rough, it didn't feel like it. The launch is super punchy. You get some crazy airtime over those first 2 airtime hills in the figure 8 layout. So good. And it's quick, and I guess if I had waited an hour for it, maybe I'd be a little more upset, but I mean, I thought it was a great ride. It was an absolute rush, and the only gripe I have is that for some reason, if you have a fast pass, the way that it drops you off into the line means it is physically impossible for you to wait for the front row, which is odd because it breaks off for the front row earlier on in the regular queue. Didn't really understand that, but whatever. Who gives a shit? Very good ride, and I was hoping Rita would be good, and it was. I thought it was awesome. At number 4 is the first B&M flying coaster ever built, Galactica. I thought this ride was fantastic. I unfortunately only got 1 ride on it because it was real hard to get on rides, even with the fast pass. If I hadn't had the fast pass, there was no chance I would have gotten all of the rides that I did. But Galactica was fantastic, and I'm really sad that I didn't get more rides on it, and will be getting more rides on it someday the next time I go back to Alton Towers. This ride is so relaxing and has such a great, just meandering, and I say meandering in a good way, layout where you're just casually flying around this area of the park. It really doesn't take itself as seriously as other B&M flyers, and what I mean by that is it doesn't really pummel you with positives at any point, and that's what I was expecting it to do, and I was 100% right. It did not throw positives at you, and it was probably the most relaxing B&M flying coaster that I've done. The only flying coaster I'd say that is more relaxing would be Fly at Phantasialand. but also that ride's a completely different ride model. I thought this ride was great, and if I had been in that area of the park more, then I probably would have ridden it more, but Alton Towers is just so huge, and the sky ride that they have that takes you from one side of the park to the other was not working while I was there, so there were basically no transportation rides to take you from one area of the park to the other. Monorail wasn't working, sky ride wasn't working, so I had to just walk through the valley every time I wanted to go from one side of the park to the other, and that kind of killed it, but still a fantastic ride, and can't wait to ride it again someday. At number 3 is a ride that I thought I would dislike, and I didn't. It's the Smiler, a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster. I was terrified of how rough I thought this ride was going to be, and after 2 rides, I can tell you there's only one spot that was rough. Now, that spot was very rough, and you can actually hear it in the POVs that I took. Oh! Oh my god! This ride was sick. It never felt repetitive with all of those inversions. There were so many great positive forces, 2 really good pops of airtime on those 2 airtime hills that go into the, I believe, Cobra Roll and weird Sidewinder Batwing sort of thing towards the end of the ride on both sides, or both tracks, I guess. It was a blast. I really never got any intense headbanging. I guess the only one I got was at the end of the Cobra Roll at the end of the ride. That's the roughest part for sure. The Smiler is as advertised. It's completely insane, crazy, all over the place. The inversions make you feel like you have no idea where the hell you're going. It was super re-rideable, surprisingly enough. I would love to get laps on that thing on a day that isn't as busy, but I feel like there's no such thing as that at Alton Towers these days, so hopefully someday I'll get a marathon on this ride, but with the 2 rides I got, very happy with them. At number 2 is the ride that I thought would easily be my favorite ride at this park, and that is Wicker Man, a GCI wooden coaster. By no means is this coaster bad. It is not bad whatsoever, but it's sort of been talked up by UK enthusiasts as this crazy, intense airtime machine for a GCI, and I can't disagree more. It's very good. It is very good, but it is definitely on the weaker side of GCI layouts for me. When I first rode it towards the front of the train, I didn't quite get a front row, but the first ride I got on it, I was genuinely disappointed and thought it was one of the worst GCIs out there. I no longer think that, but it is absolutely not one of the top GCIs. What I will say though is the theming is fantastic. The pacing on this coaster is really, really good, especially like surprisingly enough, that little midpoint where there's an unbanked turn as the train goes back up the little valley. I love that little reprieve. And then in the back row, you get absolutely flung over that little drop off of that. You do get some really good forces here and there. Night ride on it was fantastic. Couldn't see where the hell it was going. I don't want to be negative because I really expected this ride to be better and it was good, but I thought it would be the best ride in this park, and it wasn't, because the ride that I thought would be overrated, overglazed, ended up not being overrated at all, and that is Nemesis Reborn. This ride absolutely is not the best B&M invert out there. I think people saying that are going a little too far, but I will say that this is one of the more intense ones out there, and the way the layout works with all of the integration of the theming and the little canyon valley that it's in is fantastic. The sequence of elements feels so strange with like a corkscrew coming first, which is, I don't think you can find that on any B&M invert other than this one, especially considering it's just kind of floating in the air above like that area of the park, which is so cool to me. But this ride pulls some crazy positive forces. The 0G roll is whippy as all hell. That vertical loop from the end of that banked turnaround to then is crazy intense positives. The corkscrew at the very end feels like one of those flat spins on the Batman clones that's very, very whippy. This ride was awesome, and doing it at night was just the exclamation point on my day at Alton Towers. I really, really love this coaster. It's not quite Black Mamba or Montu levels for me, or Pyrenees either, but it is a headlining ride there for sure. People love it for a reason. Still a fantastic ride, and I can't wait to ride it again. Also, people said that there was a crazy rattle on it. Disagree entirely. Maybe on the final turn a little bit, but no B&M rattle to be found on that one. It's glossy smooth, and it's just an absolute home run. Great coaster. So that is it for my ranking of all of the roller coasters at Alton Towers that I rode, plus the 2 that I didn't. If you disagree with my rankings, let me know. I'm sure you do. My rankings are very heavily influenced by vibes, so the objective best coaster or objective better coaster will often end up not where you'd think it would be. That's the fun of being a theme park or roller coaster enthusiast, is you can have your opinions about whatever you want. I will never tell anyone else their opinions are dumb unless they tell me that my videos are good, and that is a bad opinion. My videos are garbage, stop watching them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far in the video, let me know in the comments what you think about my rankings. Be as mean as you want. I cannot take it and I will cry. I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.